Madeleine McCann's parents have been told Scotland Yard has another 6 months to find their daughter. Despite fears the probe would be wound up, the police have been given another £2 million to carry on the search until next spring. The McCanns, Kate and Jerry, said they were extremely grateful. The inquiry will go on. Their daughter vanished, how can any of us ever forget, of course, aged just 3, on holiday in the Algarve in Portugal in May 2007. It's already cost £10 million, Operation Grange, and now there are questions whether the investigation should continue. I would not want to be. You cannot be anything other than sympathetic to the McCanns. Of course, they want the police to continue to look for their child, who they both, Jerry and Kate, passionately believe is still alive. They will not give up hope, and now the police have given an extra £2 million, announced by the Home Office just this week. Sounds great, but I'm asking this. Do the police treat all missing children investigations in the same way, or is this because the plight of Maddie, missing Maddie, touched the hearts of the nation, a very media-savvy, friendly pair of parents, attractive, middle class? I'm not sure if the other missing children are treated the same way, in which case, why is Madeleine McCann treated any differently? 0345 6060 973. I'm going to talk to two guests. John O'Connor's a former Metropolitan Police Commander, and Sonia Poulton, a journalist who's been investigating the case for the last month and is in fact making a film on the disappearance of Madeleine. Sonia, if I can ask you first.
Morning, Andrew. Nearly a year, actually.
Nearly a year.
Yes.
Good morning to you. What do you make of this? Are we treating this family differently to others who lose a child?
Absolutely, we are. The most high-profile case next to Madeleine. Let's bear in mind that Madeleine is now the most famous missing child on earth, and that's since Lindbergh's baby in the 1930s. And yes, absolutely, we're treating this case differently to other missing children. If you look, for example, at Ben Needham, who was also a high-profile missing child case, well, Ben Needham and Kerry Needham, the mother, has not been afforded anything that we've actually given in the search for Madeleine. And that is for a number of reasons, and some of which I obviously have to respect the fact that it's an ongoing investigation, so I have to be extremely careful about what I say. But it is for a number of reasons. Let's also take account that this case has received the backing from 3 prime ministers, which is, again, completely unprecedented. And so one has to ask why. And what we are dealing with, as you say, is parents who are extremely media savvy, a very high-profile PR machine which is behind this. And so it has taken it into the realm of something else entirely.
And how many... you've been investigating this for a long time, Sonia. Children go missing all the time.
Yes, one child goes missing every 5 minutes. And if you'd have asked me at the start of this film, which was almost a year ago now, and I have to say that as journalists we get such a sort of bad deal. People think that we're so hard-hearted and everything, but researching this story has been utterly heartbreaking. And there are a number of victims in this story. And so, yes, one child goes missing every 5 minutes. And so, Madeleine, of course, we've now ploughed in £11 million, and we are putting in any more. And if you'd have asked me at the start of this investigation, should we continue in time of great austerity to be funding this investigation, I would have said outright no, Andrew. But I have to say that you found me today in a mode of saying we must continue, and we must continue for this reason, and that is I was highly critical about Operation Grange. I didn't believe it was actually, going to really get to the heart of the matter. But I'm starting to believe that there may be new developments in the case. I'm certainly hearing things. Operation Grange were very clear from the beginning that they wouldn't be giving a running commentary. But I'm starting to hear things about new developments, and I think for that extra £2 million, given that we've already spent £11 million, we should just plough on ahead with this, because it is time for those new developments. But we have to, what needed to happen with the investigating Operation Grange was that it needed to start at ground zero. And it actually has had a change of commander. In December last year, DCI Andy Redwood, who'd started Operation Grange, was replaced by DCI Nicola Wall. And there is every reason to believe that we may actually now be seeing new developments in the case. And one of the things that I certainly believe, and many of the critics of this case, is that the thing that needs to take place above and beyond anything is a reconstruction, and that has failed to happen thus far.
All right, well, let's bring in John O'Connor, a former Metropolitan Police Commander. John, morning to you.
Morning, Andrew.
It's clear, isn't it, that they are being treated differently to other missing children, whether that's because the police still think that the scent is warm and that they may find her, or perhaps it's because they are a very clever couple in terms of their PR profile. And I'm not criticising them for that. As parents, you would do the same.
Yeah, I think you have to look at this case as being unique. It was quite clear from the start that the Portuguese police took off on the wrong tack. They believed that this was a matter within the family, and the punishment that they put the poor parents through is just unbelievable. So I think it's quite right that once the Metropolitan Police were asked to be involved in it, they had to start right from the very beginning, and they are reinvestigating the whole case. They're doing things that the Portuguese police should have done many years ago. And, as your previous caller had said, that, the police are not there to give a running commentary. It's a confidential inquiry. The officer in charge of the case is the best person and the best placed person to know whether they should be carrying on. If there is no clear resolution in sight, then they shouldn't be pouring more money in. But it seems to me that the police, quite rightly, are not leaking information. We don't know what the situation is with the case, and it's a matter for the police themselves how they use their resources. And if they think that there is a chance of a resolution, then I think the resources are immaterial and they're doing exactly the right thing. However, if there's a review later, as undoubtedly there will be, and it's thought that maybe they went on too long, well, then the police are still accountable to how they spend the money. I think the right thing is happening. This is a unique case, and I think that the parents are entitled to get all the resources that are available. That doesn't mean to say that other missing children cases aren't dealt with in the same way. There has never been a case involving a UK child like this one. This is unique. They have got through their own efforts, they've got the attention of the world. They, through their own efforts as well, through their own private investigators, have generated a huge amount of intelligence and information, and that's probably why it's taking so long to resolve it all.
Of course, Sonia Poulton mentioned the case of Ben Needham. You'll be very aware of that one, John. He disappeared in Kos, July 1991, 21 months old. His parents were on holiday with his grandparents in a Greek village. Earlier this year, his mum, Kerry Needham, threatened to sue the Home Secretary, and only then was the case given an extra £700,000 of funds to aid the search. Now, was that a PR response by the Home Secretary, John, or do you think because perhaps in the case of Ben, the police had decided the scent really has gone cold?
Probably. I don't think that the Ben Needham's family had the resources to generate so much interest and leads and intelligence. I don't mean physically, I mean intelligence about the missing child, and that in itself generates loads of actions. Let me tell you, if you're doing one of these cases, and I've not done one of a missing child, but I've certainly done murders of British people abroad. When you're running an inquiry like that, you're the best placed person as a senior investigating officer to know when the case is running out of steam, to know when all of the leads have been followed up and that there's no hope of a resolution in sight. And I think it's the advice of the senior investigating officer to senior police officers back at Scotland Yard as to whether it carries on or not. And it certainly seems hopeful to me that there may be a resolution in sight. Okay. And if that's the case, then it should go all the way. With Ben Needham, I never ever saw that there was any hope of a resolution in sight. Where were they going to go? I mean, where would any investigation go? You can't just put a team of people on and then start chasing shadows. You have to be following information or evidence that exists.
OK, that's John O'Connor, former Metropolitan Police Commander. Sonia Poulton, just very briefly, because we're a big pressure of time. You're making a film. What's it called and when will we see it?
Well, we've got a working title of The Untold Story of Madeleine McCann. We'll be putting out a trailer in October to coincide with the death of Brenda Leyland, who was quite inaccurately accused and called a troll. But I would just say that if anybody else wants to catch up to speed on this case, go online, go onto the Portuguese police files, absolute wealth of information, and I think it will be very eye-opening for many, many people, Andrew.
Sonia, thank you so much. That's Sonia Poulton, journalist who's been investigating the case for nearly a year, and she says they're right to continue the police. John O'Connor, former Metropolitan Police Commander, says the same too. I'm asking, are the McCanns being treated differently because they are an attractive middle-class couple with a great gift for looking and sounding good on TV and radio? I'm not criticising for that. They are parents who love their missing child. They're desperate to save her and get her back. But are the police treating them fairly like the rest?